Now, we all know it was impossible to get haircuts this spring thanks to COVID-19. My hair is really long. But a pay cut, well, those are too easy to find in just about every segment of the economy.
That's right. Investigative reporter Dan Monk examines executive pay at Cincinnati's publicly traded companies during this time of economic shutdown. And he found only a handful where bosses shared the pain.
It's the CEO's job to stay calm in a crisis.
We saw a 50% decline in core revenue from March to April.
COVID-19 forced some painful decisions.
And the first thing we did was we just tightened our belt as tight as possible.
But most CEOs did not do what Adam Simpson did next.
I think cutting your own pay is a big decision, but it felt to us as the right thing to do.
Simpson is CEO of the E.W. Scripps Company, which owns WCPO. He cut his own pay twice this year and led other company officials to volunteer for their own cuts. Together, they raised about $500,000 for a relief fund for Scripps employees impacted by the pandemic.
Though their jobs weren't being impacted at Scripps, they may have had spouses who were being impacted by a job loss.
A business-backed research group known as the Conference Board has been tracking this trend. It lists 572 companies that have cut the boss's pay due to coronavirus. That's about 13% of all publicly traded companies in the U.S. Scripps is one of only 4 local companies on the Conference Board's list. Macy's CEO Jeff Gannett waived close to $200,000 a month in salary and bonuses starting April 1st. Batesville, Indiana bedmaker Hillenbrand Inc. cut 30% of CEO Joe Raver's base salary for 6 months. That's worth about $126,000. Mason-based medical device maker AtriCure announced cuts of 20 to 35% for top executives and board members. The cuts are worth about $400,000. AtriCure and Hillenbrand did not respond to the I-Team's request for interviews. Macy's declined to comment beyond its regulatory filings with the SEC.
Still sends the message that we're sharing in the pain.
Amit Batish follows coronavirus pay cuts for the research firm Equilar.
By not taking a salary cut, it kind of sends the wrong message to your employees, not just employees, it sends the wrong message to the public.
Which brings us to the 87% of the roughly 4,400 public companies nationwide that have not announced executive pay cuts. They include Kroger, which saw a 30% revenue increase in March and hired 100,000 new employees to handle increased demand for groceries, according to the company. Senator Bernie Sanders called CEO Rodney McMullen's pay disgusting in a May 19th tweet. Kroger declined to comment on the tweet and declined an on-camera interview. Union leaders like Kevin Garvey are lobbying the company to boost pay for workers who risk infection every day.
What the board of directors want to pay Mr. McMullen, that's their business. My business is to make sure that that money is shared with the members. If he wants to reduce his salary, that's fantastic because his reduction can go back to our members, right?
Company spokesman tells me Kroger has spent $700 million to reward and safeguard its employees during the pandemic. It also retained a consultant to review its executive pay practices, but it's too early to tell what will become of that. Dan Monk, WCPO 9, I-Team.